All right, cash flow contractors, welcome to this whiteboard webinar we're going to be doing from our office here at Benali. Excited to talk today about building a sales pipeline to help you find less stress, more time, and more money. So we've got our agenda over here to my right, written down for you, but what we're going to be covering is what is a sales pipeline. If you're not sure what it is, I'm going to go thorough and in-depth into it so that it's very clear. From there, we're going to talk about how to actually create one, what you actually need to know and what you need to do to actually create one. From there, we're going to talk about what problems actually solve so you can really see with clarity what is going to be beneficial for you and your business about a sales pipeline and incorporating it. So let's go ahead and get started. What is a sales pipeline? Terminology is so important. Your language is so important. In your business, you have terms that you use, and whenever you bring on a new employee, they may not use the same terms that you use for certain things. And so it's really clear, it's really important to clarify what language actually means, because my definition of a pipeline is going to be different from another marketer's pipeline or a salesperson's pipeline. From business to business, it's going to vary. So I really want to clarify exactly what these are. We're going to do that by starting with a sales funnel. And a sales funnel itself has so many different definitions. What steps do you include? What is the top of the funnel? What's the bottom of the funnel? Usually there's a general understanding, but I'm going to give some clear terms to what a sales funnel actually is. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to draw a little funnel for us. Okay. And we're going to have stages to this funnel. And our entire goal of this funnel is to go from not a customer to a stranger, all the way down to a customer, right? So at the top, we're going to have a lead, right? We all know what a lead is. It's someone who we think is going to be a customer at some point, who has the potential to buy. I like to take it a step further. If you have really good marketing, if you're getting leads calling you directly, if you're getting people to fill out forms on a website, this is really good marketing because it generates leads. And those leads are different than the business card we got at a lunch, or someone calling and saying, hey, you should talk to my cousin, right? So these are going to be called marketing qualified leads. And then I'm going to use QL for qualified leads. MQL is a common term for that. These are good, but what's important about marketing qualified leads is that we really don't want to keep that as our main metric unless we've done a really good job of defining what a marketing qualified lead is. Just because someone fills out a form does not mean that they actually are ready to buy from you and that they want to talk to you. Maybe they like something about your website, they want that resource that's on there, whatever it is. But it's really important that as we go from that, as we get a marketing qualified lead, that we're quickly trying to get them to the next step, which is a sales qualified lead. I like to define a sales qualified lead as someone that you actually talk to and you can confirm that they are a good lead, right? Really, from here, we don't want to spend too much time unless there's a timing issue on the customer standpoint before going on to the next one. And the next one here is going to be opportunity. An opportunity is someone that you have, if you're a contractor, they've got a budget, they've got a timeline, they know exactly what they want, and they are talking to you because they're actively looking to do business with you, to have something built or their project in mind, right? That is an opportunity, right? From there, you've really got two options, okay? You can have a closed won customer or other, right? That can be someone who's bad timing. It can be someone who's not going to work out, whatever it is. These are the options you have in a sales funnel that we are mentioning today. So now that we understand the sales funnel, the reason I'm going through this is because the sales funnel is so important to the sales pipeline. And there's other things that are also important. Now we're going to go through what a sales process should look like. and I'll jump over to the other side of the board. Now, a sales process can have a lot of different layers to it, but really in my opinion, there should be 4 steps to any sales process, right? So for the first one here, we want to have, let's just put sales process for you guys. The first one that we want to have is identify. That is the first step of our sales process because we have to find people that are wanting to buy from us, right? This is where our leads are going to come. Our identification can come through many forms, right? Maybe it's a referral, right? Maybe they come through our website and they're a marketing qualified lead. Maybe they are somebody that we prospected and we were cold calling and we got in touch with. Any of these 3 are identify, right? They're in the identify stage, right? The next one is connect. And in the connect stage, we're really just trying to get a gauge of if this is a good fit, if this is not a good fit, introduce ourselves, see if we can go on to the next stage, if we can start talking about an actual project, a deal, if you will, right? And so this is an opportunity stage that we're trying to get us to. So really on the connect stage, you are in a sales qualified lead, hopefully jumping to an opportunity. If it is a good fit after that connect stage, what we'd like to do is explore. In the explore stage, this is whenever, as a contractor, if it's a homeowner that you're working with, you're going to their home, you're checking it out, you're going to give them an estimate. You're really trying to get the details of everything that they're working on, and or that they want you to work on. I'm sorry. So during that explore stage, there's many things that can be happening. If you're working with a GC, it might be that you're trying to get details for the drawings for a bid that's going on, anything like that that you're trying to submit. Okay. On the last stage is plan. Okay. In the plan stage, this is when we are actually trying to get the details of everything we need. We've probably collected our deposit. We're trying to order materials, schedule work, and really close the deal, right? Once we've collected that deposit, we are through the plan stage. And this is the ideal sales process that you should be going through. All of the things that fall underneath this, whether it's website, prospecting, these are your actual processes that you need to have in your sales process. But all of your processes should fall under one of these 4 categories, right? So maybe on Connect, you're really good at phone calls, right? Or you're doing emails. It could be meetings in person or on Zoom. So any of the Connect things, those are your processes. You should have a call script, email templates, meeting agendas, different processes that you can have in place to make the Connect stage really efficient. Then in the Explore stage, this is where we might have estimate, right? We want to have some processes for estimates. Do you need to have drawings? Do you need to do measurements? How do you determine what the estimate's going to be? Is it based on certain materials? Do you have a catalog, right? What are the processes that you're going to have to make the Explore stage and your sales process unique to you? Then the plan, again, your own processes for having that final meeting, that final discussion, whether it's a presentation, whether it's submitting the bid and having a meeting about it or a proposal, whatever it is, your processes fall underneath that. So now we've gone through 2 of these. We've gone through the sales funnel, we've gone through the sales process. The next thing is just a little bit different, and it's your operations. Now you're asking, why do I need my operations for a sales pipeline? And in my opinion, a great sales pipeline, a really good sales pipeline for your business is something that covers all 4 areas of your business, is able to really impact all 4 areas. This is great. Having a sales process is awesome. It makes it really easy for a salesperson to get their job done efficiently. They know they have templates, they have scripts, and it's really easy to go to take a deal from I just met you all the way to the work is about to get done. But a good salesperson is really able to help the operation side of things, the people that do the business for you, succeed at their job, right? So going a step beyond, it's good to know, what does your operations actually do? What are your steps? Is it materials, order the materials, schedule a inspection, perform the work over a 2-week period or a 2-day period, 2-hour period, however long it takes. Then we need to do a report. Then we need to go and we need to send an invoice. Then we have to follow up on the invoice, all these different things. What is the operation side of thing outside of the sales doing? We're going to jump into that into the next part, but you have to know your sales funnel, you have to know your sales process, and you have to know your operational steps in order to create a great sales pipeline, right? A sales pipeline will cover all of those things, and now we're going to jump into how to create one, starting right there with the operation side. So let me erase this really quick for you guys. So when we are creating this pipeline, we want to know from start to finish what's going to be happening in our business. And if we have our sales funnel, our sales process, and our operations clearly outlined, this makes the sales pipeline really easy to build. But I find that a lot of contractors really don't have any of these things built. And so they can't go and effectively make a sales pipeline that's really accurate to their business. So knowing your steps. We have talked about our sales funnel, so we know the steps that people go through. We talked about our sales process. We know about the steps that we need to take in our sales process. Let's go through some of the operational ones. So let me get this out. So know your steps. First, it's going to start, I like to start after the identification stage, because there's so many various ways that you can identify people through referrals, your website, your social media, your email, phone calls, prospecting, events. But once we've identified somebody, we are trying to schedule an appointment. So I start at, our appointment is scheduled, and it's really good to go granular, really, really granular. So we have an appointment scheduled. Then we are going to finish the appointment. Once we have the appointment done, a quote is needed, right? This is inside of our sales process. Then we have to create the quote. Then we have to send the quote. Once we've sent the quote, we have to collect the deposit. Okay. Then we have to schedule the work. Then the work is scheduled. Then we need to order materials. Then we have to actually go and perform the work. And that may take some time, so the work might be in process. Then the work will be complete. From there, we have ourselves waiting on payment. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped some. After we've completed the work, create invoice, send invoice, invoice paid. And that's usually where a lot of people stop. You can keep going. You can say thank you card. testimonial, photos, right? All the things that are going to help us with our marketing. So know your steps, right? These are all of the steps we've gone from our sales funnel, right? Through our sales process. Then we've gone into our operations where we're actually doing the work, some administrative stuff where we're sending invoices, right? And even some marketing there at the end where we're getting some testimonials and photos, a review maybe, and sending out a thank you card, right? Maybe asking for some referrals as well. So we know all of our steps. This is the first thing that you need to do to create your sales pipeline. The next thing that you need to do is know your milestones. And here's what I mean by that. Yeah, this is really valuable for our systems and processes, okay? But in our sales pipeline, we don't want to have to go through all of these things. It's too much to digest at once. We need to have it in some clear milestones that really matter, that help us to see what we need to do next. So some really clear milestones that we have are the appointment scheduled, okay? And then when the quote is sent, so the quote is sent, then your deposit collected, right? The work is scheduled. For some people, it might be that the materials are ordered, right? Then the work needs to be is in process. Then we will have that the invoice is sent, that we're waiting on payment, right? And then when it's paid, that's going to be our closed one, okay? So here's some big milestones. Let me just write those out for us really quickly. And I'll explain why I've chosen these. A majority of the reason is because whenever you are looking at your milestones, those are things that are really big and lead to a trigger, right? Lead to an action that needs to take place, right? So appointment scheduled, right? Then we have quote sent, right? Then we have deposit collected, materials ordered, then we have work scheduled, work in process, and then we're just waiting on the invoice, waiting on payment, and then we have a closed one, meaning we are done with the job, everything's finished, we're good to go. So the reason why I've chosen these are specific to the business that I'm working in, and yours are going to be specific to you, right? So maybe after, for me, I have a really great online quote system that is just 5 clicks after the appointment. I can put everything in and a quote is sent to the homeowner, right? If I've got that, I don't really need to have like a need quote, like a quote needed stage. Maybe for you, a quote actually takes a lot longer, right? And it takes you about a week to generate that quote. Well, maybe you need to have a quote needed stage because a deal that you're working on, a project, an opportunity, whenever you're working on it, it's going to go from appointment scheduled to then quote needed. And that's going to give you a trigger of, hey, I need to generate that quote, right? But for me, because I've got that online tool, I've gone from appointment scheduled just to the quote is sent because that's part of my process for an appointment that I send it right after the appointment within a minute or two. So it's just sitting in a quote sent, and now we're just waiting on the deposit. And so I don't need to go and put a stage on here for waiting on deposit because it's clear that if I've sent the quote that I'm waiting on the deposit. So then from there, the deposit is collected, right? If the deposit's collected, then I know that I need to go and order the materials. So I don't need to put order materials on here. I'm just at the deposit collected, right? Once the materials are ordered, right? Then I do work scheduled. For you, maybe you don't have materials, or maybe your materials are just always on hand, and so you're just looking for the work scheduled option. So you may skip over the materials ordered, right? It's all specific to your business, but just think through what is most applicable for you. Where does time, where is there a delay in between some of these different milestones? These milestones are eventually going to become our deal stages, which is something that we're going to look at here in a little bit. But before we go on to that, I want to talk about the triggers, right? Know your triggers. So we've covered the steps, covered the milestones. When we go on to our triggers, we are just looking for what needs to happen based for the salesperson mainly, but what needs to happen in the company whenever these things take place, right? So whenever the appointment is scheduled, what do I need to do, right? What are my triggers? Well, one, I need to show up to the meeting, right? I might need to send a reminder about the meeting, and then I might need to have a thank you email for the meeting or a follow-up email. So those three things are going to be my triggers for the appointment scheduled, right? Then for the quote sent, when the quote is sent, maybe I need to, well, one, I need to create the quote. So if you have a more space in here, you may need to have an extra spot because a quote sent doesn't imply a trigger, right? So my appointment scheduled would also be my quote is ready, right? That's part of my agenda for the appointment. But if quote sent is my next stage, well, from there, my next thing is a follow-up. I need to be following up on that quote, right? I've sent it. Let's try to get that thing closed. Let's get a deposit. So here is follow-up. Those are my triggers. When I get to the deposit collected, now my triggers are order the materials, right? I need to create a work order. I need to really get everything, all the items in a list and talk to my supplier, my vendor to get all my materials ordered, right? I also need to get them on the truck, whatever it is. Once the materials are ordered, my trigger now is I've got to go and schedule that work. I've got to talk to operations. I've also got to talk to the homeowner or to the GC, whatever it is, find out when my schedule is and get my work on the schedule. Now, my triggers for once the work is scheduled, now I'm really just making sure from there that we're waiting, that I'm on top of things, that the schedule doesn't change. My other jobs are going to finish in time. I've got all the man hours that we need. I've talked to the subs that I need, that everything is ready and we're good to go. Those are my things. I may even have reminders that will go out a couple of days before, a week before, day before, so that everybody's on time, so that we can be on schedule. When the work is in process, this is a great opportunity for us to make sure that we're on top of it, to make sure that we're communicating with the homeowner, with the GC, letting them know, giving them little updates about how things are going, right? Those are my triggers while the work is in process. When we get to waiting on payment, that means that we've completed the job. Again, our triggers are going to be, we need to follow up. We've got to stay on top of that, right? And when we get to close one, that's when we're going to trigger some of these marketing things where we send a thank you card, ask for referrals, a testimonial, a review on Google, and some photos of the project so that we can have that on our website or on our social media. So those are the triggers. Those are going to be specific to your business. These are just a few examples of what's going to happen. What's really great about when you know these triggers, when you start to implement your pipeline into a software, which we're going to show at the end of this, it's going to be so helpful for your business to have these triggers. Because when you have a deal and it's in the appointment scheduled phase and it moves over to the quote sent, right? It's going to send automatic tasks to the salesperson to remind them to follow up. So those triggers are now automated triggers that keep everybody in line, that keep our projects really organized and managed properly, right? So know your triggers, really important for your business. The next thing is know your info. Now, this one just kind of speaks for itself. I don't need to go into too much detail, but knowing your information that you need for the project. Obviously, you need the person of contact's first name, last name, phone number, email, right? All that information. You need the address of the job site. You need the address where to send the invoice, because those may not be the same things, right? But then you're also going to need, how much is this project in value? What is the commission for this project? What type of project is this, right? There's so many different things that you can know about a deal, and the list goes on and on and on. But in my opinion, the more information, the better, because once you have that information on a deal, you're able to start to do you're able to back up after a year and do some reporting and see, wow, we're getting this many, if we're doing kitchen remodels, for example, wow, 75% of our projects contain cabinets, while only, while 100% of our jobs contain countertops, right? And in 50% of our jobs, we were also installing the appliances. And now you can take a look back and see where your opportunities are. You can also look forward because you have this information. Man, this month we sold a ton of jobs that have appliances in them or that have cabinets in them. Wow, now we need to really think about what that's going to look like inside operationally, because we see that coming down the pipeline, right? We have these opportunities where people got a quote for all this stuff. Are we able to handle that capacity, right? You're able to start making those decisions because you put that information in, that this is a full kitchen remodel. This is just the cabinets. This is just the countertops. You're probably not just going to do just the appliances, but you get the point, right? So the more information you can have, the more you're going to be able to glean from that information in the future and moving forward. So, all right, we've covered know your info, right? Before we go on to the software, I just want to talk about all the benefits that you're going to see, what problems you're going to solve by creating a pipeline for your business. We've set up all of our steps, we've set up all of our milestones, we have clear processes in place, and we know exactly what's going to happen from start to finish on any project that we undertake. Just to go back to the 4 areas of business, if you've listened to the podcast, the first one we did, or I think it's the first 5 actually, we cover the 4 areas of business, but every business does these, right? We guide the business, we have to get the business, which is sales and marketing, we have to do the business, which is our operations, and then we have to administer the businesses, which is everything that we really don't want to do as a business person if we got into it for our craft. Those are things like legal, tax, insurance, on and on and on. So when guiding the business, this is going to allow you to be a better manager of your team, right? If you have this sales pipeline, you're going to be able to track the performance of your salespeople. How are they doing? Are the deals that they're bringing on really stalling out whenever it comes to collecting the deposit or when we're getting to final payment? We need our salespeople to be finding different leads and different customers because these people are awful at paying, right? Or man, we're not generating enough quotes this week. I can see it really clearly right here. John, what's going on here? I see your quotes. You're down 30% compared to last quarter. What's up, right? It allows you to really manage what you've measured with your sales pipeline. It also allows you to forecast and plan because you can see what's coming down the line. You can really tell which jobs are doing well, which jobs are not doing well, just because you have this sales pipeline. As a salesperson, it's really helpful because maybe you don't get paid as a salesperson until that final invoice is complete. And if you want to get paid, you're able to see, man, we're really stuck at the work schedule. Why are we scheduling work so late? We're still waiting on this final payment. Hey, billing department, let's pick it up. Let's get it out there. I'm going to follow up myself as a salesperson to make sure that they pay that invoice, right? That's a lot of the guiding aspect. When we get to the get aspect, the salespeople, we actually just dove into that with the salesperson, but it's really helpful for me to have a sales pipeline. It keeps me organized, keeps me efficient. It keeps I see how I apply to the whole company, right? Sometimes as a salesperson, you're just trying to get the jobs and that's all you're focused on, but you actually get to see it from start to finish to when we get the photos and send the thank you cards. And it's really fulfilling to have that inside of your job. But just at a basic level, you're really able to see, man, this is so clear what's happening in our company. I know exactly what my job is and I can execute it really well. On the marketing side, it's so great as a marketer, I can speak to this at length, but it's so good to see that the marketing people that you drove in, right, from the website, through social media, through the emails that you sent out, whatever it was, are actually converting into closed won customers. And you don't always get to see that as a marketer. You get the leads and then you focus on getting more leads. But if you can see it go from beginning to end, it's a really, really cool experience. And it helps the marketers know what which leads are actually good and which are bad. Man, all the leads that we get from Facebook never close. They stop at the quote sent job portion of our sales pipeline. Oh, but all of our leads that are coming straight from LinkedIn, they're going all the way through. So it's a really key thing for that stage of getting the business. For the doing the business, I've seen this happen in so many companies where they just see the work order come in and they don't really know what to expect. But as an operations person, whenever you're able to go and look, oh wow, we've sent this many quotes. Wow, so we've got some stuff coming in next week that we can really be hopeful for. It makes it so much easier to have a visual of what's in front of you in operations to know what you need to be doing. It shows you where your bottlenecks are, because so many construction companies don't have a really good project management system. Some do, some don't. And if you don't, you really have no idea of where your bottlenecks are. You probably do just from a visual, but it's a lot easier to see when you can tell, wow, a lot of our jobs are hung up here on the work scheduled. We're scheduling too far out, or the materials ordered. We're not doing well enough there. The work in process is taking 5 weeks. How can we speed that up, right? It's going to be custom to your business, and you should customize it to where you can find those bottlenecks. Lastly, on the administrator side, from knowing when to invoice, who to follow up with to make sure that our receivables are lower, to what we're going to need to be ordering materials for. Everything on the administrative side, especially the billing aspect, is really it's propelled by the sales pipeline, because you're able to keep things really clear and you're able to anticipate what's happening. So also automatic reminders. I mean, the triggers are super helpful for the admin. Whenever a deal is stuck on waiting on payment, you can set triggers to where it automatically sends a reminder to the customer or the client every single day if you want to pay this invoice, right? It can automatically generate the invoice when the operations guy just moves the deal to this stage of waiting on payment. The invoice can be generated and sent automatically, and it makes that admin side that much easier. So we've gone through a lot here, right? It's a lot to digest. I'll just let you know that when we create a sales pipeline for someone, it's usually taking us 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how complicated the business is. So don't think you're going to do this overnight, especially if you don't have any of your processes in place for your sales process. So really take your time with it. Understand that it's going to take time, and don't get frustrated with it, but see it as a long-term strategy for increasing your sales, for being more efficient, more organized, and better managing it. So I'm going to have Ethan share his screen really quickly and pull up what HubSpot looks like, right? This is HubSpot Deals. Now, I just want to back up a little bit. You do not have to use HubSpot. This is what we use as an agency for contractors. We've set several contractors on this exact platform with their sales pipeline. And this is just an example one for you to look at. But you do not have to use this. You can also use Trello. There are other platforms that have sales pipeline functionality like Buildertrend, Salesforce, and several others. There's so many different ones out there, but we choose to use HubSpot because it's so connected to the marketing, to the service side, to the website. It's really easy to go all the way from marketing, all the way to sales, all the way to closed, done with our service side of things. So this is it. This is the Deals platform. So really quick, Ethan, if you'll click on that top left next to Deals, those 3 lines, this is what it looks like to see deals just in a list view, right? So here's all of our deals here, right? We can see at the top, we've got 13 deals, right? We can customize these columns. We can see what deal stage they're in, when they're supposed to close, who is the owner of these deals, and what the amount is. We can even see if it's associated with a specific contact, right? This is just the list view, but it gets really powerful when you switch back to the board view, right? So now we're in this deal stage view. We can see it separated by deal stage. So we talked about our milestones. We just put our milestones up there as our deal stages. We have appointment scheduled, quote sent, deposit collected, work scheduled, materials ordered, waiting on payment, closed 1. And if you go even past that, we've got marketing 1, which means that after we've done the closed 1, we were able to schedule a photo shoot. We were able to get a thank you card, and we were able to get a review on Google, right? That would mean that we have won job on a marketing terms, okay? So if we go all the way back, you're gonna see all these deals. And then if you scroll to the bottom, you're gonna be able to see the totals in that amount. So I can see right now that I've got 95,000 tied up in quotes sent. Not bad, right? That's really good. Let's go and close some of those quotes. Let's follow up to make sure we get them in there. If we go to the waiting on payment, and I can't see it, scroll over, there we go. We've got 80,000 that we're waiting on payment for, right? Man, we need to call these people and make sure that we're getting paid. And Ethan's showing you right now that whenever they do pay, you just drag it to the next column. It's that simple. And now we see how much we've won. And then you can go and you can filter all of this. You don't need to do anything there, but you can change it by, each month. You can see how much you closed one, how many payments you were waiting on in October or December, or whatever it is, right? So a super valuable tool. Now, when I said information is really important, Ethan, go ahead and click into any one of these. You're able to go in and customize whatever information you want on all of these, about the company, about the contact, about the deal itself, about what materials are used and where the job is, what type of job it is. If you wanted to go to the even greater links, you can even have your quotes inside of here, right? You can add line items of what you're selling to people. You can add attachments like drawings to the deal right here. And it's super valuable. If you actually click on the blue name of this job, yeah, there you go. It actually gives you a timeline. So you can see the deal activity here in the middle, but if you have a contact associated with this, any email that you have with the contact is going to show up here in the middle as a timeline, just like on social media, like a news feed. It's going to be a news feed just for that deal. So this is a really valuable tool to use HubSpot to have your pipeline inside of here. We know that it's transformed companies whenever they've implemented something like this. So if you have any questions about this, you can leave them in the comments, but we're actually going to be running out of time here soon. We've got about 4 minutes left, and I just wanted to reiterate that: one, take it slow. Two, see this as a holistic process. You can build a sales pipeline that's just focused for the sales team. And if you're a large organization, that's probably good, especially if you're not in, if your product's sold right away, that works fine. But especially in construction, where there's a longer sales process, a longer install or work process, it's good to have the holistic picture because things get lost really easily. So take a holistic view of everything and really try to not just think of sales only in the function, but see how sales applies to the bigger picture, all the way from marketing, all the way through operations, all the way to admin. It's super helpful to have all that. If you want help creating your sales pipeline, this is something that we do at Benalioulhaj. And if you want to talk, we're happy to talk with you. So you can find us at benali.com. That's benali.com. You've obviously found us through the Cashflow Contractor, the cashflowcontractor.com. You can reach out to me personally. My email is Khalil, Khalil, at Benali, benali.com. Would love to chat with you about your sales pipeline and help you to figure it out and what works best for your company. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you were able to find less stress and more time, more money through this, that you can envision that happening with the sales pipeline. And we'll see you at the next whiteboard webinar and on our podcast, The Cashflow Contractor.